sewage, Andy Cuomo. It appears that your state is swimming and drowning and is flooded in sewage overflows. It is absolutely staggering, the amounts of sewage being dumped in the East River and over in New Rochelle. And it's just mind-bending, Andy Cuomo. What's up with all the sewage being slopped everywhere? Now, I want to bring this to the attention of Elise Stefanik. Congresswoman Stefanik, why is it that New York State, the Big Apple, why is it that New York State has such a massive sewage dumping problem? Like into Lake Erie, for instance, and the St. Lawrence Seaway is a mess, and the Hudson River. Lake Champlain's like, oh my freaking God, Lake Champlain, what a giant mess. And then you've got 6,000 septic tanks leaking and leaching and draining in the Lake George Basin. The bowl. Lake George is nothing but a great big old bedrock basin, and all the sewage and the rain and the snowpack melt leaches down through the septic leach fields, and all that crap and whiz goes into Lake George. And this is why David Wick flushes Lake George. This is why the Lake George Park Commission has been flushing Lake George for decades, to dilute the sewage leachate pollution in the Lake George Basin from the 6,000 septic tanks. The exact same condition exists at Glen Lake. And everywhere there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of septic tank leach fields that drain into lakes like Lake George. Now, Andy Cuomo wants to blame Trump. I get this. Andy Cuomo, for some reason, thinks that the senior citizens that got extremely sick, suffered, and then died in the senior citizens fiasco, where they took infectious COVID patients and put them in with the elderly. I mean, you got to be freaking kidding me, Letitia James. The Attorney General for the state of New York, you got to be kidding me. I mean, you could have quarantined those people not in senior citizens' homes. That is so obviously the damn murder of those elderly, it's not even funny. I mean, how freaking psychotic and sick and twisted is the state of New York? Andy Cuomo didn't do that by himself. No. And the rest home operators, boy, I bet you they got rich off the funerals and selling all those caskets. That big money and people check it out, right? Yeah. Damn shirt, man. I'll tell you what, I hate it when they get curly like that. But in any event, it would appear that the Citizens Campaign for the Environment is of the opinion that New York State's behind the eight ball on sewer treatment and sewer systems that aren't combined. You can't have combined sewers, Andy Cuomo. That's sick. I don't know who the hell came up with the combined sewer, but that's like really screwed up. That's how the bats and the rats and the mice and the possums and the raccoons and the beavers and the chipmunks and the squirrels and the birds and the ducks and the geese and the foxes and the coyotes and the moose, that's how they get sick, drinking sewage contaminated water. And then they spread it all over the landscape. With the insects. Hello? What do you think bats eat, Andy Cuomo? Come on. You want to call your lifeline, Andy? Andy Cuomo. Elise Stefanik. What do bats consume? What's their primary diet? That's how the bats got sick. From eating the insects, breeding in all the sewage. From Wuhan, China, to London, England, Paris, France, Barcelona, Spain, Milan, Italy, Toronto, Detroit, Chicago, San Francisco Bay, Tampa, Florida, the whole Mississippi River Delta, the Mississippi River Basin, Tennessee River, Ohio River, Penobscot River, Connecticut River. Come on, Andy Cuomo and Elise Stefanik. Elise Stefanik. Why is New York State swimming and flooded in sewage? Like Lake George and Lake Champlain, David Wick. Come on, man. You guys from Department of Environmental Confiscation there. Confiscation. The Department of Environmental Confiscation. Raybrook, New York. Right up there with the Saranac Lake, New York State Health Department. What the hell's going on, Warren County Health Department? Why is New York State dumping sewage all over the place? Like they flush from Lake George over to Lake Champlain. Now the great big wintertime drawdown, the drawdown of Lake George is going on right now. And Tom West and Eric Sly and Chris Novinsky and Kathy Bozzoni and the Board of Supervisors for Warren County, the town of Queensbury, the village and town of Lake George, New York, Bolton Landing, all over Lake George. They know they're flushing the drawdown. Yeah, that's a cute play on words there, David Wick. And Sheriff James LaFar, I hope you're taking notes, James LaFar, because that flushing during winter ice pack, that's when Witham Marina got destroyed from the flushing. And then the lake come booming back up in the springtime. Because that damn dam doesn't work worth a damn. The damned dam doesn't work worth a damn. That's going to the Lake George Steamship Company and all the other, profiteers that think that flushing Lake George is just dandy. And all the lakefront vacation home owners and motels that own those 6,000 leaching, draining septic tanks. Shame on you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it right there. And as always, hasta la vista. God bless, and where's your turds going? All over America. They're flushing sewage all over America.